Hey, welcome to the Shrewdness. I'm Prue, Dex, and Chiz joining me. We're back for another week of the Shrewdness podcast. We're in the tail end of kind of prep for Guillotine fantasy football season. So if you've been following along, we just put out our free rankings out on the website. Go check those out, theshrewdness.beam.ly. And tonight we're going to talk about the results, kind of the top round, what the top round might look like in your Guillotine fantasy football draft. So Dex and Chiz are going to roll through. We're going to talk about our top 18 picks that are most likely the top 18 that are going to go in your fantasy draft and why we like them in that
form
position.
or fashion. Yeah, because draft season
Yep.
is
Right.
upon us. Like they are starting probably this weekend, early next week. Next couple of weeks will be all the drafts for sure. So let's get started here. So you are pick number 1 this year. You are sitting in a great spot. So number 1 overall pick, and you will feel great about it, is Bijan Robinson. Why are you taking number 1? Great opening schedule. He's the best running back in the game. You can argue it, but sounds good. He's the best running back in the game. He gets to start at Pittsburgh, Carolina, at Green Bay. And he's got a nice late bye week, baby. Week number 11 for that bye. A nice, tasty, don't have to worry about him early in the season and get the sweats up for an early bye week. So Bijan, number 1 overall pick.
Not Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
Bijan
Make sure
Robinson.
you select the right B. Robinson.
They both play for Atlanta, and you know somebody out there is going to make that mistake.
Do not pick the wrong Robinson. Bijan is the stud. Brian shot himself in the leg.
Who's number 2 off the board if you got the second pick this year?
Number 2, and it was a real close one, and he could be number 1. A matter of fact, our earlier rankings, he was number 1, but he's shifted, is Jameer Gibbs. Love Jameer Gibbs this year because he was ridiculous last year, and he is down 1 David Montgomery. I know they got Pacheco, but I think Gibbs is going to become much more of the featured back. That's why we love him. You get either of these two guys right up front, you're going to be really happy. The only thing that edged Bijan over Jameer Gibbs in the end was the earlier bye week. So Jameer has a week 6 bye week, which is a little bit early. Good news is there's a lot of people that have a week 6 bye week. You're going to hear us talk a lot in this top 18 about week 6 because a bunch of teams with a bunch of talent have week 6 bye weeks. But Jameer Gibbs, you cannot go wrong. He's durable. He catches the ball. He runs the ball. He's a stud. So Jameer Gibbs, number 2. One thing you're going to note, I'll give it a little insight here as we unveil this 18. You're going to be like, where are all the quarterbacks? Well, you'll see that there aren't a lot of quarterbacks. And the reason why is because quarterbacks are not as valuable because you only have 18 starting quarterbacks in a Guillotine league. And that means that you got 14 that are available at any time.
At any given time.
They're not great.
Yeah.
But it's sure a heck of a lot harder to find a starting running back or a starting wideout who's going to produce or starting tight end. So you'll see that theme. Heavy running back, heavy wideout, heavy tight end. Okay, so number 3, Prue, falls to our first wide receiver on the list.
Yeah, our first wide receiver is Mr. Puka Nakua for the Rams. Week 11 bye, which is nice. Puka's had a lot of volume.
Of alcohol.
Ouch.
Volume of targets and or alcohol, but
targets and tickets. He's got them all coming.
During the football season, he'll have lots of targets.
Hopefully not tickets.
Yes.
Right. And a high-powered offense, really good defense.
Oh, he's going to get a ton of targets. He's the engine that moves the Rams. The only thing that gives me pause, and I don't have pause because I still have him up really high, because I think he's matchup proof, but he's going to get past Surtain in week 3, and then he's going to have probably everybody covering him, Philadelphia week 4. So back-to-back weeks
the whole
will be
defensive
challenging.
backfield.
Yeah, but the thing is, Philly, they have one of the top secondaries. Cooper DeJean and others are back there. They have good linebackers. They got good safeties. He's going to have 2 weeks in a row that might put you in the sweat curtain. But the thing is, if he goes 6 for 80, he's still going to give you 14 points, even if he doesn't even score. So that's why he's pretty much matchup proof. And that is holding him down. If he doesn't get 100 yards and 10 catches, the defense did their job. So Puka Nakua, number 2.
Right.
All right, number 4, our next wideout off the board. So if you get the 4th pick, you may have Jamar Chase. That's right. Jamar Chase will be sitting at you at number 4. Again, only issue, week 6 bye, but who cares? It's just one of those things. He's that good, and his only tough matchup in the first few games is at Houston week 2. But I like to believe Joe Burrow is going to get him at least a chunk of targets. You don't need a massive game from him. You just need your 12 to 15 points out of him, and you'll be good.
In case you're wondering who led the league in targets last year,
who did lead the league?
Jamar Chase, 185 targets.
That is an insane amount.
That is 13 more than the next highest person. So
including like 40 in 2 games, right? Like 23 right. And then 19 or something.
It was
Jamar
Chase
was
absurd.
Had a zillion over 2 weeks.
Yeah,
all right,
right.
Chase, who we got number 5?
Well, at number 5, we continue our wide receiver theme with JSN, Jackson Smith-Njigba, for Seattle, the Super Bowl reigning Seattle Seahawks. We don't see any reason for them to particularly slow down this year. They do have a big change at running back, but they still have Zach Charbonnet. They also drafted
maybe Charbonnet. Depends on whether it gets cleared by week 1. But regardless, who did they draft? You love Golden Domers.
Oh, I love Golden Domers, and I love me some Jadarian Price, who I think is – I don't think they're going to lose a step, honestly, in their backfield. So I think they're going to have just as potent of an offense. We know they have a great defense. And JSN is in his peak years right now. So this guy gets a ton of targets too. He and Puka had almost the exact same number of targets last year. He's going to be integral to the offense. So feel really good about him. So we go 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers. Then we go back to running back, Prue, with our number 6 pick, who is...
Number 6 is Saquon Barkley for the Philadelphia Eagles. Late bye, like a week 10 bye. He's obviously the number 1 back for Philly, who has a very easy schedule this year, according to all the experts.
Well, that's and right. Vegas, and they don't care about experts. They care about making money.
Yeah. So in theory, that means Philly's going to run the ball plenty, maybe more than average, or more than they normally would, because they shouldn't be playing from behind a lot. So Saquon will get plenty of volume. He was obviously their featured back last year. No reason to think that won't continue. So
that's right.
Easy choice.
I like Saquon. 6. If you are sitting in the 7th slot, we think you may be super excited to have on your team Amonra St. Brown from the Detroit Lions. Ooh, so Amonra, now you could argue he could go up higher, and we talked about during our wide receiver preview. He could be the number 1 wideout off the board. No one would even bat an eye at it. So he has New Orleans, Buffalo, Jets, Carolina, Arizona. None of those are scary for pass defenses. And then week 6 bye again, but along with many of them, to include Jamar Chase and Jefferson and just fill in the blank. There's a ton of wideouts with the week 6 bye, which kind of helps. Like misery loves company, and you might as well have a lot of people sitting in your boat that are also sweating. Kind of helps.
Yep.
So in a weird little way, it doesn't bother me as much knowing there's other elite talent at the wideout position that are going to be in the same position. So Amonra St. Brown could be your 7th pick overall.
Jamar Chase is another one who's had that week 6 bye. So
exactly.
Yep.
All right. Yep. Number 8, Chiz. Tell us who we got.
Yeah, guy I'm really high on. I'm higher on him than the rest of the team, but they're all still high on him. I think he's going to have a huge year. Number 8, CeeDee Lamb. So that Dallas offense was not the problem last year at all. They were a cranking offense. They just couldn't stop anybody. They had the worst defense I have ever seen from the Dallas Cowboys last year. And if they had stopped maybe one drive extra a game, they probably would have been in the playoffs. So I love Dak Prescott throwing to CD. They've been together a long time now. They have a huge rhythm. CD gets 10 targets. I'm not worried about the George Pickens factor, even though George Pickens is an excellent choice, and you're going to hear about him later, or you'll see him later in our draft.
There's enough volume for both of them.
CD gets his, and I love his yards after the catch, and I think that they are on a mission this year offensively. Love CeeDee Lamb at 8. So we go from CeeDee Lamb at 8 back to running back and Mr. Pruitt, number 9. Some of you have probably been waiting for this name.
Yeah, CMC, Christian McCaffrey for the 49ers. Super high volume running back, featured player on their team. That's what makes their offense move. He had 102 catches, a ridiculous number of catches and receiving yards, along with all of his rushing volume and an insane number of touchdowns. Like, he's a scoring machine, a little bit of injury risk, but he was very healthy last year. So there's really no reason to think that won't continue. He's a year older, but still very productive. You can't really go wrong.
And in case you're wondering how many targets he gets targeted more than any running back in the game. So in terms of catches, he's going to catch a lot. So on average, he gets 7.6 targets per gameplay.
Yeah, the thing to worry about for CMC and all the Niners is they have got 3 of the top 5 defenses in the first 5 weeks. So the Rams week 1, that is tough. Then you got Miami, Arizona. Sounds great. They're terrible. And then Denver and Seattle are the next 2. So the reason we did not call his name earlier for a guy who had over 100 catches at running back is because, 3 out of 5 weeks, you could be sweating. That's going to be your number 1 pick. And he's always going to have really, really, really tough matchups right off the bat. And these are not just floozy defenses. These are all championship caliber defenses. That's why I had him lower on my list. And that's, again, think about it. He should be matchup proof. Like we said, all he needs to do is get a few catches a game, get 90 total yards from rushing and receiving, and he should still give you mid-teens points without a touchdown. So that's kind of why we have him there. He's still going to have a high floor even against these great defenses. But if you're looking for a 30-point game, maybe temper expectations.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so that is going to bring us to our number 10 pick overall. So if you are 10th overall in this draft, you may have the opportunity to take Justin Jefferson, wide receiver for the Vikings.
I'd be pretty happy with number 10 getting JJ.
I would too. Now, here's the thing. You're like, he was bad last year. He was not very good. Like, gotcha. Look who is throwing him the ball. Whenever you have to start with the first name Max and last name Brosmer, I get it. Who's good? Like Jamar Chase, like, I suck too. Like, nobody's going to be good with that. But Justin Jefferson's got Green Bay, Chicago, Tampa, Miami to open up with. Again, nobody's scary in those first 4 weeks. Green Bay, young. Chicago is getting torched repeatedly. Tampa Bay's corners aren't their strength. In Miami, name a defensive player. So that's where we're at there. So I love his matchup. He's going to have actual competent quarterback play with Kyler Murray. I think he's going to be really good. I think JJ bounces back, and he's going to look like the elite top 5 wideout he's been every single year of his career. So that's where I'm at on him.
Agree. Love him. And now we go to number 11, and we go back to running back, and it is the man who defies time. Derrick Henry, number 11. Last year, I have a story. I admit I was down on Derrick Henry. I was like, hey, guess what? It's time for the running back cliff. And oh, was I wrong. Derrick Henry is still dragging semi-trucks up hills in the offseason for training. And he seems to be one of those freakish guys. There's, once in a blue moon, we get somebody like an Adrian Peterson that could just play forever.
And is really good.
I'm not going to say Derrick Henry's going to play till he's 40, but he still has plenty in the tank. The offense still goes through Derrick Henry. And I think they're actually going to have a better passing offense this year, which I think is going to open things up a little bit for him. So I don't feel nervous about Derrick Henry. He's about as sure of a thing as you can get. Plus, I love the Week 13 bye week. So late bye, set it and forget it when you get Derrick Henry at the 11th pick. 12th pick, Pruitt, another running back.
Yeah, another running back. Number 12 is Jonathan Taylor for Indianapolis. Huge volume back again, very stable as far as touches every week. He's gonna score points every week, no doubt about that. Another late bye, Week 13 bye. Indianapolis also has a relatively soft schedule.
Yes,
so they should feature Taylor a lot as they have in years past. So yeah, another solid pick there. Can't really go wrong in these top 12, folks.
No, you cannot.
It's a good selection.
It is. All right.
Number 13, Dex.
Let's go 13.
This is where in my book it start getting a little doubt in some of these guys.
I don't have
like
doubt
those
in this
first
one,
12.
And I think
I know you don't.
I think Prue's with me because we have Drake London in this spot. So Drake London, who has just 1 million. So he had 2 games all last season with less than 8 targets. That's it, man. 8 targets per game is the lowest. And he gets Pittsburgh, again, Carolina, Green Bay, New Orleans, Baltimore. It's just a ton of not that tricky. Now, you can kind of say, but who's throwing him the ball this year? I got you.
Noodle arm is who?
Either Tua, the guy who led the league in passing a couple years ago, for sure. or Michael Penix if he ends up taking the job later, but he's in 7v7 drills right now. He hasn't even put on pads yet. So it's going to be Tua.
Right.
I trust Tua enough. And Drake London demands targets. Even with crappy quarterbacks and injuries last year, he still put up massive numbers. He's really talented. And another
Huge red
tasty
zone guy.
Week 11 bye.
9.3 targets a game last year.
Bring up some of the counterpoints. What don't you like about Drake London this year?
The only thing I love Drake London's talent. The thing I don't like about Drake London is Tua. I don't feel like the deep ball, which is something I feel like Drake London is really good at. I think that's going to be taken away. I think it's going to be more short passing, yak, which he'll do. Don't get me wrong. He's good enough to do that. But I think that dimension is going to make it a little tighter on him. If I get Drake London, I'm not going to cry. But I don't like him as much as the other wide receivers that we've talked about so far.
Gotcha. So who's the next one? Number 14. Do you feel comfortable with this pick?
So number 14, you're going to say, really, guys? Really? This guy burned me like crazy last year. Ashton Jeanty. Yes, he was 1.5 yards in a cloud of dust last year. But that was because he had nothing around him. Absolutely
to include a line.
Nothing. They had no line. They had no quarterback. They had nothing. I mean, it was him and Brock Bowers out there like drawing up plays in the dirt. So I feel like this year, although their line is not going to be dominant, I have been doing a little research on the Raiders, and it is improved. So in the first preseason game, they had something that I hear is called a hole a couple times that he ran through. And you know what? Ashton Jeanty, when he has a hole, is pretty darn good. He's a really talented running back. And the thing that I do love about Jeanty is there's absolutely no question who the one is. It's Jeanty. Yep. And he's getting the ball, and he's not coming out. So you're going to get a ton of quantity out of him. So even if he does have a game where he gets 2-3 yards a carry, when you're getting as much as he does, you're probably going to sneak a touchdown in. You're probably going to get enough volume to rack up some numbers. So I really like him, and I love his late bye week 2. He's really late in terms of bye. He's week 13, I believe. Yep. Week 13 bye week this year.
If you believe in the offense too, it should be more scoring opportunities as well. So the issue last year is they were hardly ever in the red zone, and when they did, I wonder what they're going to do. And they stuffed the line.
When they were down 35-0 and getting the ball on their side of the field, it was like, Jeanty's kind of out of the game plan. I don't think they're going to be dominant. I don't think they're going to win the division or anything like that, but I do think they should be better. So I like Ashton Jeanty because it's really hard. One of the things you'll hear us talk about repeatedly throughout the season, most backfields are hydra backfields. You're going to get 2 or 3 guys split carries. There's no bell horse cow. We love the fact that when you get a guy like him, he is in every down, and that is tough to replicate, tough to find. So we like him a lot at number 14. Number 15, Prue, speaking of another running back we like.
Yeah, this year's version of Ashton Jeanty is likely to be Devonta Smith for Miami. Mass exodus for Miami skill players. Devonta Smith is pretty much their only option, so he will get volume. The problem is opposing defenses know that he will get all that volume.
You might as well just paint a red target right here when he runs out to the huddle.
But when we're saying high floor in a pick that's very safe, he's going to get a crap load of targets too. Again, 4 catches for 20 yards plus a 60-yard day on the ground. Doesn't sound like much, but in the stat book, you're sitting again middle teens.
Yeah, very
that's
stable.
All you want,
absolutely.
Man.
If you're talking about these top 15 picks, if you're talking about the guy that's going to get the largest percentage of the offensive touches, I'd put my money on this guy. Like, they may not translate to that many touches because their offense is not going to be great, but when he's in the game and they're on offense, he's going to touch the ball.
And Malik Willis and him are going to be running a lot.
Yes.
Maybe for their lives, but also running a lot.
He had 1,838 total yards last year and 12 touchdowns. That is... And that was a not good Miami team.
Right. For a team that didn't score that many touchdowns, that's a high percentage of their overall touchdowns went to him. So
very high.
He's going to be featured a lot, and that provides a very stable floor, which we've all been talking about over the last 2 months.
Floor.
Yeah.
We love the floor.
Speaking of stable floors, number 16 overall. So if you're sitting in this spot, we think a nice pick to have here is Trey McBride. So the one that's going to be
First tight
moving
end
the
off the
chains.
board.
First tight end off the board. And understand if you want to wait, but he's probably going to go right around this time in most drafts. So
Yep.
Trey McBride had a Hall of Fame season last year. The NFL record setting for catches by a tight end. He had some yards, he had some touchdowns, and he was literally the only person moving the ball for Arizona last year. We don't think that's going to change. Experts don't think that's going to change. Vegas doesn't think that's going to change. So who really disagree with all those? But Trey McBride's a great
1,239 yards, 126 receptions, and 11 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even if some regression's inevitable, and we talked about that during our tight end episode, he's probably not going to set the record again. So if he's anything short of setting another NFL record for catches by tight end in yards and touchdowns, well, okay. But we think he's still going to be 100 catches. We still think he's going to be around 1,000 yards. Still think he's going to be 8 to 10 touchdowns, which is going to put you in the ranks of 1 or 2 for the tight end this year.
That's right.
So he's got some tough defenses off the bat. So at the Chargers, I mean, as long as they're healthy, that was a good defense last year. And then Seattle, the defending champs, week 2. Don't like that so much. But like we said, he's pretty matchup proof because who else are you going to throw to?
Remember, they were bad last year, and he still caught all those balls.
Right.
Exactly right. And when the toughest defense is in your division, you've played them twice a year. So those guys seem to always know what to do. So I'm not as worried about Seattle with him as I would other teams that don't see him as often.
Agree.
So Trey McBride at 16. Chiz, get us to number 17.
Number 17, he's changed addresses. He's now going to be reading books on the sideline in New England. A.J. Brown. So we like A.J. Brown. Obviously, A.J. Brown's talented. There's no doubt about that. He's mercurial, which is another reason we like him here at the Shrewdness. He's a little bit interesting of a character, but I'll tell you one thing that's going to be terrific is seeing him matched up with the young QB, Drake May, who's going to have a true number 1 target to throw to, and I think that they're going to become fast friends. I predict A.J. Brown is going to be much happier, much less of a distraction in New England than he was in the tumultuous Philadelphia locker room where there seemed to be a lot of issues between a lot of players. And I think it's going to be a free A.J. Brown year. So I actually think A.J. has a lot of upside this year.
I do too.
We've got him down here because, his production wasn't as good last year. And he's still a question mark. So he could be on the wide receiver cliff, but we don't think so. We think he's a good first round pick. And so A.J. Brown in New England, it's going to be fun to watch. And rounding out now, Prue, our first round of Guillotine picks, number 18.
Yeah, so we actually have a tie. We might have to do 19 because we have a tie.
Oh, you're right.
As far as our scoring here.
I mean, it is the bookends, so you'd be able to take both these people anyway.
Right.
That's
this
true.
is the
Ironic.
end of your first round.
19.
So maybe your first 2 picks back-to-back. Devonta Smith is number 18 on our list. Phenomenal receiver in Philadelphia, as we discussed in our wide receiver episode. Maybe the wide receiver 1 last year, was definitely going to be the wide receiver 1 this year in Philly. Very good rapport with Jalen Hurts. The two of them have been working together for many years now. So
that's right.
It's obvious that he's going to be involved in their offense pretty heavily. And the departure of A.J. Brown just creates more opportunities for Devonta Smith, is our general thinking. So,
and
we like
he's going to have a
Devonta
rookie
Smith.
opposite him.
Yeah, rookie wide receiver, Nakai Lemon, as their number 2, most likely. So you can't rely on the rookies. If you've been watching the Shrewdness, you will already know that.
It's especially good early because it usually takes a while for rookies to get in the flow. And I imagine that Jalen Hurts, who's not a phenomenal passer, but he's a really good game manager, doesn't turn the ball over. I think he's going to say, hey, I need to find Devontae early and often, especially those first few weeks while he's trying to work stuff out, get some chemistry with Lemon. So we love him there. And then as a bonus, because he did tie, Prue, who did we have as a 19? You're the 18th pick. You get both these guys.
Yeah, so if I'm the 18th pick, I'm taking Devonta Smith, and then I'm taking James Cook as my my 19th
Not
pick
too
overall.
Shabby.
That's
the
a
NFL
pretty
rushing
good combo.
leader from last year.
Yes,
Not
that
the worst
James
guy
Cook.
ever. Okay. He might be pretty valuable.
Again, he's the number 1 back. There's really no close competition in Buffalo.
Not at all.
Buffalo's got a great offense. They've added a few weapons, but that'll just, I think, move the ball a little bit more. and give Josh Allen some other options rather than relying on James Cook so much. But he'll still see plenty of carries, some passing volume, and just he scores a lot of touchdowns is what it boils down to. So
yes,
I like James Cook in the top 19.
He had 14 of them last year, so that is pretty good. The only downside to James is sometimes Josh sneaks some of those touchdowns from him. But
yes,
if Josh sneaks some and he still gets – yeah, that's true. But if Josh sneaks some of those and he still gets 1,621 yards and 12 rushing touchdowns, I'd be all right with that.
Exactly right. So you're going to notice an absence of quarterbacks in that first round. Now, I can guarantee you almost, I mean, not to a mathematical certainty, but in your league – is highly possible 1 or 2 quarterbacks go in the first round. It could be 0, and we don't think you should draft one in the first round because I don't think you need to. But if a league does, we had our first quarterback, just for reference out there, at 25. So Josh Allen was the first one off the board for us. Even with a tough matchup at Houston week 1, which, again, he dropped an egg last year, single-digit fantasy points for you.
Yeah, he did.
That's why it makes us nervous, but the rest of the time, he's going to be pretty darn good. The week 7 bye, we also don't like that much, which is why we don't want to waste a first-round pick on him. But second round, he's going to go for sure in all the drafts you're in. So just something to consider. So Josh Allen, we do have him on the list. Don't worry. He's just at 25
he's on there
for us. Yep.
We're just talking about value here, and it's different exactly when you're thinking about value, and that's where our lists are going to be different. If you look at a lot of traditional fantasy lists, they'll have Josh Allen higher, they'll have Lamar Jackson higher, they'll have Jalen Hurts higher. It's not that we don't think you're valuable. It's just we know that you've got to get through the week. And if Josh Allen does have a single-digit game in week 1 against Houston, which isn't out of the realm of possibility, then you're going to be relying on your second-round pick to put up a ton of points. And it's probably going to be somebody that is not top tier in terms of running back because they're going to be gone. So look at those top-tier wide receivers, running backs, tight end even we had in there, and we've got some more tight ends that slate down here pretty late too. But you need to go on the site. You need to check out our tool. It's kick-ass. It has an amazing ability to sort. You can sort. It's free. It's totally free. So please go to the shrewdness.beam.ly for your sake. Look at the free tool. Utilize it. It's going to help you dominate your draft. And it will take into account Guillotine, which is really hard to account for in most of the tools that you have out there.
That's maybe not too obvious in that first round. Like everybody could probably say, yeah, those guys should be in the top round of most fantasy drafts. I think where our rankings are going to show up as different than the Yahoo rankings or the ESPN rankings or whatever.
Fantasy pros
in those middle rounds, right? After you get through the top tier players that everybody knows is good, you get into those middle rounds. That's where we're finding the value and considering the things like bye weeks that will keep you alive during the early part of the season until some other players free up in free agency after a few teams are chopped.
That's right. We take into account those floors, which is really key because you're going to get, and the fantasy pros and some of those others, they're going to have guys that have more volatility in those middle rounds because they'll be like, hey, it's worth taking this guy because he could really boom. It's not worth taking it when you get your head chopped. And that's where we are really focused, and you're going to see the difference in the rankings. So those customized rankings and how we've got them, check them out. They're worth it, and they're free.
Yep. So Guillotine, again, main focus, we talked about it multiple times. It's a narrower, shorter term focus. The next couple weeks are the most important. We don't care about November right now. We don't care about December. We certainly don't care about weeks 14 through 17 like traditional leagues will. We're trying to get you through into October because your team gets better week after week. The free agents get better. They get dropped week after week. Your team gets better every week as opposed to a traditional fantasy team where maybe you do some trades, but at the end of the day, you don't have free agents like this dumping into the pool each and every week. Right. It's treasure every week.
That's right.
Again, we have a fab budget strategy episode out there, so take a listen to that. It's going to be good, and it tells you kind of what to look at, what strategies, when should you spend fab, how early, what situations warrant it. So we go into all of that in our fab episode, so check that out on the website or on YouTube, Spotify, and every other platform you listen to podcasts.
We also have a new paid service that we're offering once the season starts and you've gotten this, free draft rankings and you've gotten your draft. You're going to need some strategy as you go through the season to spend the fab dollars, like Dex is saying. We've got a tool out there that we've created that'll help you do that, help you make decisions each week on who we think are must-start players and who you might want to think twice about if you have another option.
That's right.
So we'll go into more detail on that.
We're not trying to get rich or anything. We made it very affordable, $25 for the whole season. You get every week's rankings. Plus, if you like to wager a little bit, we're also going to have our weekly best bets on there too. So you get a lot of value for $25. Or if you want to just try it out for a month, you can do it for $8 a month. So that's on the website too. But overall, we're here to provide you value. We're super excited about it. We're heading into weeks preseason 2 at time of this recording, which start up tomorrow night. So we're going to start really finding who's making some cuts. Those rankings, those free rankings, are going to change a couple times a week on the site. So they will be updated so you can grab them and know, hey, I'm not getting somebody. We just made some changes to it and actually updated it as we had some guys that got hurt this week and are out, and some new signings. So those guys got slotted in. So it's dynamic. We'll update it a couple times a week, and it's going to be as relevant as you need it to be for your draft.
All right. I think it's going to wrap it up for this week. Hope you enjoyed what your round one could look like in your Guillotine fantasy draft this year. So hope you enjoyed that. Keep studying, keep watching those injury reports. And until next week, stay shrewd.